national project of transparent and democratic government.
As Libyan rebels celebrated across Libya, the Venezuelan president, Hugo Chavez, condemned the NATO bombing raids on Tripoli, saying they were destroying the Libyan capital.
Hoy estábamos viendo imágenes de cómo los gobiernos democráticos europeos, no todos, pero se sabe cuáles son.
Today we are seeing images of how the democratic European governments, well, some of them are democratic. We know who they are particularly demolishing Tripoli with their bombs and the supposedly democratic government of the United States because they feel like it. Today they dropped I don't know how many bombs, and they are dropping them indiscriminately and openly, and they are not explaining anything over schools, hospitals, houses, businesses, factories, farms. This is happening right now.
Khaled Mattawa, can you respond to President Hugo Chavez? Venezuela is one of the countries that's been talked about possibly being a place of exile for Muammar Gaddafi, though it's not clear what is happening right now, even where Gaddafi is.
Well, it was talked about, and I'd hoped that he would actually take Gaddafi and they could have a fun time together in Venezuela, but it didn't happen. One significant aspect of Hugo Chavez is in Libya. There used to be a stadium named Hugo Chavez Stadium in Benghazi. As soon as the revolution started and he'd shown that he'd sided with Gaddafi and he'd been somewhat popular, that stadium was changed to another name. So Hugo Chavez, please stick to your cancer treatment, and I hope you recover soon and leave the Libyan people alone. Please try to take care of your country and leave us alone and just shut up.
Fred Abrahams, the issue of what happens now with the supporters of Gaddafi versus those who have taken him on. And of course, a number of supporters, high-level administration officials in the Libyan government have switched as late as probably today, but certainly yesterday and the day before, the issue of revenge.
It's a real concern. Look, 42 years of dictatorship. People have legitimate grievances against their leaders, and on a local level, the corner informant who was spying on your family for decades. So we believe that the National Transitional Council now has to step up and show it's able to lead the country in this transitional period, and that means speaking forcefully against revenge and taking steps to stop it. That means guarding installations, police stations, courthouses, other facilities that could be targeted by people with their legitimate rage, and basically showing that a new Libya will turn its back on these abusive practices of the past. We've seen good signs so far. The NTC has issued very strong statements condemning revenge, calling on their fighters to behave, but that has to continue, because after 6 months of conflict, 4 decades of dictatorship, the threat is very real.
You talked in your report, just having been back from Libya, about NATO forces abuses, about Gaddafi regime abuses. What about rebels?
Yes, we have documented some abuses by the rebels, particularly in areas they captured with government control, some attacks against government supporters, some looting, some arson. It is not on the scale of the government abuses, but it's not to be dismissed in any way. And thankfully, the reaction has been good. The NTC leadership has condemned these violations. They have pledged to investigate. They've called for calm. And, let's see if that plays out. There's no doubt the emotions are running high. And what happens these days in Libya will set the tone for the years to come.
Khaled Mattawa, the response of President Obama and the West in general, France, Britain, what would you like to see now in these last seconds we have you on satellite from Cairo?
I would like the UN and the countries that had supported the Libyan revolution to keep an eye on Libya. I think the potential, as our colleague was saying, is very high for an actual democratic country arising in the country. But what will happen next, which is to try to limit the violence, and this is the National Council's responsibility, to try to keep this as peaceful a transition as possible, is very important. But the media and the countries that have supported the revolution, they need to also send these messages to try to support the national police force in tactical means and in every possible way to make sure that peace is kept in the country. Peace now in this time will guarantee peace and transparency that we're seeking in the future. So we're grateful. I think the Libyan experience has been a kind of antidote to the Iraqi experience in many ways, and it shows that international intervention, when it's fully justified, when it's done under duress and not under strategic planning, it may be the best way to go about this. And I'm hopeful that the world will keep its eye on Libya, and Libya will reward that attention.
And while you have been in Cairo, where we're speaking to you now, just back from Libya, the response in Cairo, Tunisia, Egypt has been such an inspiration for the people of Libya.
It has been great being here to watch that and to see the revolution ongoing. But also you could see threads of the tensions that exist in Arab societies in general. There is a large force out there. There are some institutions that may not wish for transparency. In Libya, we have no institutions whatsoever, so that threat it may not be there. But just the kind of security apparatus that had been there that may wish to sort of re-exist in another fashion, that's something we need to be aware of. The other tensions, of course, is on the shape of the nation. There are no different sectarian divisions in Libya. There are no sectarian divisions in general, but there are ethnic divisions, some tribal divisions. And these have they've affected Egypt in a way, the divisions that are within the nation. In Libya, it's a smaller country, it's easier to pull together, but the desire for one unified nation may be under some stress. And also the issue of the role of Islam and to what extent it should play in the country may be a test of some tension. People in Libya are generally conservative and moderately conservative Muslims. They like to live and let live within a conservative culture, but others may be asking for more stricter Islamic rule. And I personally hope that wouldn't be the case in the end, but the nation's identity and the role of religion in it is going to be part of the discussion. And I hope it happens peacefully, because we've had a religious rebellion in the 90s, and some of those forces still exist. Some of them contributed to the revolution. But we want to make sure that what we come up with is a moderate, tolerant, democratic society where Islam is a guiding spiritual force, but not necessarily a political force.
Juan Cole, the effect of what's happening right now in Libya on what's happening in Syria and the bloodbath that has been taking place there.
Well, Libya, in a way, has reignited the flame of liberty in the Arab world. It's given new hope, a new charge to people in Cairo and Tunis, and certainly in Syria. President Bashar al-Assad tried to speak on Sunday at a time when Tripoli was collapsing, and to dismiss the significance of that. And I think he made himself a laughingstock once again. I think certainly what happened in Libya will give encouragement to the protest movement in Syria to continue. It shows no sign of flagging. But it is also the case that so far, the great mass of people in the capital of Damascus, in the second largest city, Aleppo, have not bought in to this protest movement. And until they do, I don't think the regime will be brought down.
Well, I want to thank you very much for being with us. Thanks to Fred Abrahams of Human Rights Watch, to Khaled Mattawa speaking to us from Cairo, just back from Libya, the Libyan poet and scholar, and Juan Cole, professor of history at University of Michigan, speaking to us from Ann Arbor. His blog is Informed Comment online at juancole.com.